We are back. We're talking censorship with independent media. It is a problem that we are all suffering from in the independent media space. It's really difficult, and it's getting increasingly more difficult as time goes on. I think that, power structures know that they're losing power. And so this is kind of their desperate grasp at controlling the narrative. And that really is what it's about. And it's not necessarily just what they tell you, the lies that they tell you. It's also what they don't tell you. And I think that's an important aspect that people need to keep in mind. And we need truth-seeking media now more than ever. And I'm joined by three people who are in that space. We have Craig Jardula, Steve Poikonen, and Indie Left from INN. And we have been having a conversation about the censorship that we're all facing and that we've all experienced. And I would like to talk now a little bit about some solutions and some ways that we can try to get around this stuff, try to, figure out ways that we can combat it. And I know that all of you have had very creative ideas in ways that we can do that. And since, Steve, we've already kind of touched on value for value. Tell us, I know you've already kind of talked about it a bit, but tell us a little bit about what that is, what it means, and why you've chosen to go that route with your show.
Yeah, certainly. And again, it's a concept that the No Agenda podcast pioneered 15 years ago. What it means simply is that the content is always free. There's no advertisers. There's no paywall. There's no mandatory subscription. If you like it, you can listen to it, you can download it, and you can share it. The only thing that we're asking in return for all of that, and what we do is unique, by the way. There really is nobody else on the planet right now that is doing 3 hours of live show every day that combines like clips, analysis, long form interviews, live phone call, like the whole thing. Nobody does that. So what we're asking in return is if you find value in what we do, that you reciprocate. There's a handful of different ways to do it. Email, ask us about it. But the viewers aren't the viewers. They're the producers. They do drive the show. I don't worry about, the reason I worry about advertising is not that an advertiser can tell us what to say, because an advertiser wouldn't approach our show anyway unless they were okay with what we said.
Right.
It's that effectively then they become our paycheck, and then they're subject to boycott. They're subject to the whims of whoever gets offended by whatever we talk about, and people are going to be offended by what we talk about.
Yes.
And that's all there is to it. So if it's a voluntary and mutual exchange, kind of like the anarchy that we discuss, then nobody can really get in the way of that.
Yeah. And I think it's a fantastic system. And I love that. I've always, when I was in the independent media space, I've never been, none of my channels have ever been monetized for any reason ever. I never wanted to have that, that kind of, first of all, I was trying to fly under the radar. You know what I mean? Maybe if I don't seek monetization, they won't censor me. I think that did work for a while, but, they started to come for us there for a bit. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, it's tough. It's tough, especially right now, to really ask anybody for money. But I think that if people do find value, they're willing to, make a little bit of a sacrifice, because I think in particular with your audience, with the audience that, the four of us share, they realize how serious this is and how important it is to have people out there willing to speak those truths and have those conversations with people that you're not supposed to talk to.
We're not judging we're not judging anybody for what they do either.
Right.
And there's so many channels that just heap judgment based on how you earn your money. We're not, we don't have that kind of time for those problems.
Right. Yeah. And I just don't care. Like Pasta said, I don't really care what other people are doing with their shows. It's hard enough for me to, prep my shows, research my shows, try to watch your shows. I don't have time to, get into disagreements and arguments with other people about the things that they're doing. I really don't care. Andy, I want to talk to you in terms of solutions, because I've heard you talk about it's kind of like platform whack-a-mole, and you've been really good about diversifying INN's content across multiple different platforms. And you spoke about this a little bit earlier, reaching out to people who are on those various different platforms and asking them, getting advice from them. Because I know that that's very time consuming, trying to put out content on so many platforms, but it's really necessary at this point, right?
Oh, it's critical because first of all, YouTube is censoring and they are giving copyright content strikes and copyright strikes. If you're using more than 10 seconds of somebody else's video that's copyrighted by a network, I know RBN had one taken down yesterday because of a CBS Viacom clip that they used. You have to make sure that your content is on multiple platforms and in multiple formats, like Steve was also talking about in podcast format. I think that's one big place where we're missing it potentially so far on the left, and being on multiple video platforms, whether that also be Rockfin. Thankfully, we are able to have a Rockfin channel both for INN and for Independent Left News. On Rumble and Tara, we've gotten set up with Tara Reid with Rumble as well as on all network channels and everywhere else. Distributing content is a challenge. Using a software like Restream, which is not cheap, it can be $40-50 a month, but if you can split yourself out and pool a couple of people together to combine and get a Restream account between you, the ability to put out to multiple platforms and to multiple channels, it's critical today. Spending the time to write up descriptions and upload them individually to multiple platforms is tremendously time consuming. Restream allows you to do that at least on a live basis. Right now, there's really no platform to upload and do it formatted properly for the individual platforms. And I've talked to people at each platform in their product team. So how do we fix this problem? How do we build a solution so that content creators, the independents, can create one video with a description and a title and a thumbnail and send it out to all of their different platforms? Because right now that doesn't exist.
Oh man, that would be nice.
We're working on it.
So nice.
It's not out of the woods either way. I mean, isn't it so rich? Isn't it so awesome, so cool that the fact that, YouTube gets to take people down? Like you said, they took RBN. They hit him yesterday with something for a copyright strike, Hey guys, how many times do people use our stuff all the time, our ideas?
Yes.
We have a video from Stop the Steal rally, January 6th, that we know of 34 outlets have used, and none of them want to pay us for using it, right? I mean, they say, oh, no, it's Fair Use Act. And meanwhile, they're running commercials, right? Well, they're actually making money off it. And right now, we don't get anything. And we're demonetized on YouTube. And people also have to understand, they don't just take away ads from you, advertising they put there. Our videos were never suitable for advertising anyways. 95% of our money came for super chats. And all they did was remove the mechanism in which audience members can send there and can give you donations. And that's something I think about all the time. My mother asked me, Pasta, Craig, honey, what's your 3-point plan? What's your 3-year plan? What are you going to do? I said, Ma, I don't know what I'm going to do right now, because right now we're living on the edge. Parler got taken down from their server situation, and nobody ever went back to Parler. What happens tomorrow if Rockfin gets sold, or if we go to Rumble, Peter Thiel decides to be Peter Thiel, the old Peter Thiel, and take stuff down? What if we go on Sovereign, Swan's new channel, but then they arrest him for like what they did to what's his name, Ross Ulbricht, for just starting something over there, for whatever the case may be? I mean, find a reason. Who knows? So I mean, I'm scared every single day, because yes, we're doing great at running around trying to avoid what's going on, finding other ways, PayPal or what's the GoFundMe? They start stealing money from the truckers and everybody goes to Give, Send, Go. But what happens if something happens to them the next day? So right now we are still the hunted, and who knows what's going to happen. And we have to be as creative as we can be, dancing around, moving around, going around all the roadblocks. But we need to continuously sing it from the top of our lungs that this isn't right, this is fascism, this is censorship, and they need to stop, because if they continue to silence us all, we'll never have a voice out there. And that means the regular people, the everyday people, not just podcasters and independent media like us.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially they want complete and total control over the narrative. They want to manufacture your reality for you. They don't want you to have alternative sources of information so that you can, do your own research and figure it out for yourself and make your own mind up. They want to make your mind up for you. And I'm glad that you brought up the fundraising aspect, because that's a big one, dude. So many people are getting crushed right now by PayPal. And what's the other one that everybody's getting kicked off? Is it Venmo? I think that.
Yeah. They're owned by PayPal.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, people are getting positively crushed by these. And I just want to point out very quickly that this is one of the first things that they did to WikiLeaks. This is something that they did to WikiLeaks initially when they first started to go after Julian Assange. They hit them on all of the fundraising platforms. And that's I think that the demonetization is another aspect of that, because, and I've said it before, it's essentially economic sanctions on independent media. And that's how they're forcing people out. Once you get into this space and it becomes your income, if they take that away from you, people will be forced out. I mean, because it is time consuming. You're going to have to go and get a different job. You won't have as much time to create content. And that's a serious problem that we're facing right now. And Pasta, I wanted to talk to you too, quickly about, because I know that you're somebody who also, as I do this as well, you like to talk to people that don't agree with you and that have differing views. And I think that that's a huge thing that we could be doing right now, is kind of cross-pollinating, right? And introducing different audiences to different content. And I think that that's, a really great thing. I talked to the guys from the Libertarian Institute about this at Freedom Fest, because I often have those guys on my shows, and they have me on their shows. And I think that that's great. Do you think that that's one way that we can try to start pushing back against this, is just by, kind of cross-contaminating the audiences?
Well, I mean, that's right. The powers that be, that's what they want more than anything, is for us to be divided. That's their number one tool.
Yeah.
Keep us all divided, fighting at each other, and then they run off with all the resources and the money. George Carlin said it, simple tactic happens to work. So, I mean, yeah, that is definitely one of the ways. That's what I seek out. You know what I'm saying? I often think about my ultimate goals, why I started this. And yeah, if I can make a few bucks in doing this, and this is all I have to do, then so be it. I'm not trying to be a millionaire. I'm just trying to pay rent, keep the lights on, and do what I love. And that's this right now, especially with my election work. But at the end of the day, that is the thing the elites want most. They want us fighting each other. They want, Steve is, I think he's, brought this phrase to all of us and coined the phrase, I don't play team sports. We can't play team sports. We have to think as citizens, and pointing out more than anything that we have so much in common, those people who think so differently than us, than the people upstairs running things, is one of the most important things we can do. And I think when we do this, we sometimes, hopefully, people will see it and say, hey, man, if he talked to that person who's so differently than them, then maybe I can talk to that person who's so differently than me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If that catches on, then we will win. And at the end of the day, that is the ultimate goal, to let people understand that we have rulers and they rule us and we have to stop it. And they'll censor our voices, they'll censor our work, but we just got to keep pushing forward.
It's all we can do at this point. It's really all we can do. Okay, so we only have a couple minutes left. I want to make sure you guys can have an opportunity to plug all your stuff. Andy, let's start with you. Tell everybody quickly where they can find you.
Okay, so we've got independentleft.media is where you can find all of my links to every platform, including all the social media, as well as all the video platforms, and Discord too. Discord's another platform, by the way, that not nearly as much censorship, although Pasta would argue, because their Discord server got taken down in March.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation. On Twitter at IndLeftNews, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere at IndLeftNews. And of course, IndieNews.Network. And again, that's 23 independent content creators. We write, we make videos, we do podcasts, we do a little bit of everything. We've got our hands in everything on every platform. And it's everybody you know and love, IndieNews.Network, and you'll find all our network channels and all the content creators that are in the network there.
All right, Steve, your turn. Go.
At Slow News Day Show on the social medias, rockfin.com/Slow News Day Show and rockfin.com/AM Wakeup. We're live Monday through Friday in the morning on AM Wakeup, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Slow News Day is coming back Sundays, 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Look for new memory hold episodes, as well as a yet-to-be-named podcast with a mystery co-host.
Ooh, very exciting. Okay, Pasta, what do you got?
At Yo Pasta, the Convo Couch on Rockfin, at AM Wakeup on Rockfin. We do have a YouTube for the Convo Couch, but we recommend people go over to Rockfin because that is our free speech platform, and we get to speak for what we want to say. We get to say that on the Rockfin, which we don't get to say on YouTube. Look for us, the Convo Couch, to be on the ground in Brazil this year as those elections come to fruition. You're going to have Lulu versus Bolsonaro. So look for the Convo Couch on the ground in any way you can help us out. Ladies and gentlemen, we do appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you. I love working with all of you. I am humbled that every day I get to wake up and have you guys as teammates and co-hosts and cohorts. And I can't thank you guys enough. I love my life. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% entirely. Thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come talk about this. This is a super crucial issue. This is one of the biggest things that we're facing right now is the censorship, the propaganda, all of that stuff, the narrative management. I say it all the time. I know I'm biased, but that's my opinion. So thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And don't go anywhere. There's more coming up for you right after this, right here on TNT Radio.